Session chair will always start with the housekeeping. I think housekeeping is equally important even though we are doing this virtually. So I'm going to stick to that. A little bit housekeeping for everybody here and also for myself. Before you switch on your camera, make sure you are dressed appropriately, at least where the view of the camera is visible to everybody. Should you are having another important meeting at the same time that this session is running, that you do not want to miss this discourse, please be careful when you switch on your mic. You might actually switch on the wrong. I had that experience myself. And then finally, on a serious note, let's allow our guest speaker to be the only one with the mic on during the presentation. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, I guess that we are all set. Welcome to the very first sessions of ASEAN Sustainable Development Discourse. I am Aekbal and I will be your moderator for today's sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start, since this is the very first sessions, I'm honored to briefly introduce to you the course that we are about to embark into. The ASEAN Sustainable Development Discourse is basically a series of webinars that gather all Asian national experts in the field of sustainable development. The discussed topic on sustainable development goals offers framework to a better understand global issues, their impact on the local community, and how to activate us as a problem solver. The SDGs, as we all know, are the blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. It addresses the global challenges we face, including those related to poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, prosperity, peace and justice. The goals represent a significant challenge for the science and policy community, given their broad scope, diversity, inherent uncertainty, the vested interest involved, and the growing urgency for action. This webinar will offer community stakeholders the opportunity to understand these issues and explore ways to address them at a local, national, and international level. We welcome ideas and suggestions, not only coming from the invited speakers, but also from the participants, in which we should all embrace each other's knowledge. So now let's see how many that we have on board, and I hope that we are getting a good number for us to start. That's a good number, 50. We have 50 participants now online. So may I have some response from the speaker, just to check if you're ready?
Yes.
Okay. So allow me to introduce our invited speaker, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. Phimsupal Kokchang. Hello, Dr. Shi.
Hello, Dr. Siti.
Right. Dr. Shi obtained her bachelor degree in engineering from Siriton International Institute of Technology from Thammasat University. Masters in Energy from Heriot Ward University, and her PhD in Environment, Development and Sustainability from Chulalongkorn University. She is currently an academic researcher of Energy Research Institute, Chulalongkorn University, with the current responsibilities are to design and conduct research studies focusing on energy policy, energy economics, and new business model related to the transformation of energy, in which exactly her research interests. Adding to that, she is also interested in distributed solar PV. She is also actively involved in multiple government and privately funded projects such as Clean, Affordable and Secure Energy for Southeast Asia, funded by GEES, and the Agora Energy Wanda from Germany. Study on Smart Meter Roadmap in Thailand, funded by Provincial Electricity Authority, and currently working on a few projects to provide economic and technical assistance for Ministry of Energy in Thailand, related to new market structure of energy trading towards distributed generation policies, the impact of growth of disruptive technology on the power sector in Thailand, and new business model innovation on the regulated energy market, which is all being funded by Energy Regulatory Commission Thailand. Without further ado, Dr. Shi, the screen is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Siti. And first of all, good morning, everyone, from this meeting, and also say hi from the Facebook and YouTube Live. Thank you again, Dr. Siti, for introducing me. And I'm Phimsupha from Energy Research Institute, Chulalongkorn University. And thank you so much for having me in the first webinar series of ASEAN Sustainable Development Discourse. Such an honor, and also special thanks to Dr. Rostam, who invited me to speak for this webinar. And so for today, I would like to speak about supporting policy for solar rooftop, especially for prosumer era in Thailand, because solar energy is one of the most popular renewable energy sources in Thailand, which is mainly linked to SDG goal number 7 and another two goals number 11 and 17. So I think this is the right time. Let's begin. Let me share my presentation. Okay, so I hope everyone see my presentation on the screen.
Clear, Dr. Shi.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I hope my presentation will find you interesting and know more about solar energy, which is very potential renewable energy resources for especially for producing electricity. First of all, I would like to share my outline for today. First, I will talk about in general of SDG goal and SDG goal number 7, 11, and 17. And then I will talk about supporting policy for solar energy in Thailand, which is linked to SDG goal number 7. And then I will talk about the driving factors on consumer evaluation into prosumers. And lastly, I will talk about the supporting policy for promoting solar rooftop in the next generation, which is prosumer era. So let's start with SDG goal. First of all, I would like to highlight why we need sustainable development goals. Because energy is a fundamental for economic development of the society. Due to the rising in global demand because of the rising in population, and it leads to economic expansion as well as improving access to energy enable longer. So it means more productive life for the growing global population. And however, energy is a dominant contributor to climate change, and it accounting to around 60% of total global greenhouse gas emissions. Additionally, energy accounts for 2/3 of total greenhouse gas emissions, or accounting for 80% of CO2 emissions. So it's come to universal call to action to protect the planet and ensure people in the world, in the society, enjoy peace and prosperity. And SDG goal or SDG or Sustainable Development Goals can transform the world into good transition rate. So what is it? The SDGs is the blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. They can address the global challenge that we face, including those related to poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, peace and justice. So all the 17 goals are all interconnected, and in order to leave no one behind, it is important that we can achieve them in the next 10 years or by 2030. For the goal that I would like to highlight for today is SDG goal number 7, which is affordable and clean energies. SDG goal number 7, they want to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. And before we go into the detail, I would like to highlight some facts and figures of energy, like the current situation energy in the world. 1 in 7 people still lack of electricity, and most of them live in rural areas of the developing world. And as I mentioned earlier, energy is the main contributor to climate change because it produces around 60% of greenhouse gas emission, and more than 40% of the world population, approximately 3 billion, still rely on polluting and unhealthy fuels for cooking. So since we have SDG to solve these solutions, it can increase the renewable resources for power electricity. Like as of 2015, more than 20% of power was generated to renewable energy resources, as well as more efficient energy standards would reduce buildings and industry electricity consumption by 14%. And in addition, like it increased the employment rate in renewable energy sector. In 2017, it recorded 10.3 billion people increase in the employment rate. So for the SDG goal number 7, which is affordable and clean energy, in order to ensure that access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. The SDG goal number 7 also has a monitoring framework with 5 targets and 6 indicators. As you can see from the screen, there are 5 targets. For these will be used to monitor progress toward achieving global sustainable access as a part of 2030 agenda. So why this goal is important? Because our everyday life depends on reliable and also affordable energy service function in order to living smoothly and develop inequitably. A well-established energy system support our sector, like from household, business, agriculture, medicine, education, infrastructure, communication, and also high technologies. So conversely, lack of access to energy supplies and transformation system is constraint to the human and economic development. And for the basically SDG number 7 covers 3 aspects of the energy, as you can see from the slide. The first one is energy access, which is the target number 7.1. So to ensure universal access to modern energy. And the second aspect is renewable energy. Target 7.2 to increase global percentage of renewable energy. And the last aspect is energy efficiency. For the target 7.3, in order to double the improvement in energy efficiency. So for another 2 targets, in terms of implementation, which means focusing on financial issue, also addressed in these 2 targets for 7A and 7B. For the 7A, to promote access to research technology and investment in clean energy. And for the target 7.B, it means to expand and upgrade energy service for developing countries. Because in order to achieve this goal, it needs to reducing demand and also using a larger proportion of energy from cleaner sources. However, like in different regions, in different countries, and population also have different energy needs. For example, like in developing countries still undergoing rapidly urbanization, industrialization, and economic growth, which is typically see rapid growth in energy demand. Like especially in our Southeast Asia, demand is forecast to grow by almost 2/3 in the period to 2040. Especially like in these developed countries like such as Cambodia, Laos, we see high growth. But for like developed country, their energy needs quite more stable. So for this slide, I also would like to highlight about renewable energy is a key solution because from the previous slide, I mentioned about clean energy and renewable energy is also the clean energy. So to achieve this goal, renewable energy is a key solution to introduce in at the micro scale, such as in the within community or in household level, and make this micro scale investment feasible. Because renewable energy can be the key to ensure access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable modern energy for all. And for another two goals that I mentioned at the beginning, energy can be related to goal number 11, which is sustainable city and community. For the goal number 11, it means to make the cities and human settlement inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Because more than of us, like more than people in the world, like half of them live in the cities, and for the fact that their projection by 2050 there will be like 2/3 of the humanity like will be urban, and sustainable development cannot be achieved without significantly transforming the way that we build and manage our urban spaces. Additionally, the rapid growth of the city resulting like rising population and increased migration also led to the boom in the mega cities, especially in the developing countries, and also slums are becoming more significant feature in the urban life. So this goal can be solution to make the city sustainable and also can create a career and business opportunities to be safe and affordable housing and building resilient society and economies. It involves investment in public transport, creating green public space and improve urban planning and management in participatory and inclusive ways. And so how this goal number 11 can be relevant to the energies, because like access to the energy is also the basic service to meet the basic needs in our life, such as to be safe and to be healthy for cooking and for indoor and outdoor lighting in the evening, because like clean cooking and lighting at their household and ambient air pollution. And another goal that it can be related to the energy with goal number 17, partnership for the goal. For this goal, it means to strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. Since as we know that like the world is more connected than ever, so improving access to technologies and knowledge is the important way to share the idea and to foster the innovation. Coordinating the policy can help the developing country manage their debt and also promoting the investment in the least developing country. And this is crucial for sustainable development goal and this is crucial for sustainable growth and development. And how this goal number 7 can be relevant to the energies from the study. Any device that connect to the internet needs electricity as well as internet and provider and service server providers. So for the next section, I will talk about the supporting solar policy in Thailand, which is linked to goal number 7. So why I would like to highlight about solar energy as a key solution to achieve to achieve the SDG goal number 7, because solar energy is energy from the sun. It can convert it into thermal and also electrical energy. Solar energy is the cleanest and the most abundant renewable energy sources in the world. As well as the developing solar technologies nowadays, it can harness their energy for a variety of use, including generating electricity, providing light, or comfortable interior environments. And also it can be heating water for domestic, commercial, and industrial use. In addition, solar PV technology like photovoltaic also can enhance energy security through the decentralized toward green power sources and also the reduction of dependence on fossil fuels. And how about solar energy in Thailand? And to combine solar potential area account for 14.3% of the country overall area and gaining average daily solar exposure at around 19 to 20 megajoule per square meter per day. So it means that Thailand has the most potential to use solar energy for producing electricity or for heating. And nowadays, Thailand is promoting the use of clean energy for producing electricity, not only for industrial use or commercial use. Now we promoting the use of solar energy for household, especially they can produce their own electricity from solar energy through the solar panels on their rooftop. And then I would like to, as you can see from the screen, I would like to show you the timeline of the supporting solar policy in Thailand from the past to the current. Thailand has started the supporting policy program for the solar energy since 2007. We start with the ADDER program in order to incentivize the production of different types of renewable energy powers. ADDER program is an additional payment paid on top of utility avoided cost of purchasing electricity, because at that time 2000 in the back then in the past 10 years, the cost of solar technology is very high. So government need to subsidize to accelerate the growth of the solar utilization. So we start with the large scale of the solar. So we start with the solar farm, and after that the ADDER program for the solar power closed in 2010 due to the concern of the impact of the ratepayers. And the next supporting solar policy is a feed-in tariff. So for the feed-in tariff scheme, we start with give the subsidy for smaller scale. Like at first, we subsidy for the larger scale, like solar farm. Since the cost of solar has come down, so we start to incentivize the like local scale, like for the household scale, for the residential scale. So for the FIT at that time, we assigned the fixed rate for each scale of rooftop PV system for the household in order to encourage like residential sector to install solar PV system, and we allow them to sell the solar power to the grid. Like for example, like if they sell when they generate solar power, so they not use they not use that power, but they sell them all to the grid, and the rate is about 6 baht per kilowatt hour. And at that time, like for the FIT program, it is financed through the levy on the electricity bills for the electricity consumer, and it valid for 20 years. So the Rooftop for FIT program launched between 2012 to 2015. And after that, the government ended the FIT program because like the cost of solar PV is like keep declining, and the government like don't need to subsidize anymore. So and at that time, like the trend of the energy transition is coming, and they most of the country in the world, they want to like stop like subsidy for the renewable energy, as I mentioned that due to the cost of like solar panel and the cost of solar technologies keep declining. So it means that like people can use or can use can use renewable energy for producing their own electricities. And after the government end the FIT program, they start to encourage people to install solar rooftop for their own use, or we call self-consumption scheme. And actually at that time, like government just do for the pilot project and to see how if people they produce their own electricity from solar rooftop, it's gonna be like any impact to the grid. But there's still some impact to the grid, like the voltage issue, something like that. So they still not launch like the self-consumption policy that much at that time. But this year in 2020, they just launched the household scheme, which is especially focusing on install solar PV for residential, and they give the incentive for the consumer. Like for example, like if you install solar PV, you should use first, and if you have the excess generation, if you have the surplus generation that you don't use at that time, you can export this value. You can export this excess generation to the grid, and you get the compensation rate. And government like give you like 1.6 baht per kilowatt hour. And this is the current policy that government like support for the household sectors. And I hope this is not like too technical, right? And so, as you can see from the screen, like this is the trend like of the solar capacity from 2007 to 2020. And as you can see from the slide, like as I mentioned earlier, like first we start with like solar farm address, and it can see the exponential growth like about 1,500 megawatt, and then the growth of electricity generated by solar is keep stable, and this trend like is reflect the growth of solar energies employment is in accordance with governmental supporting policy. And our target by 2030 is to reach 15,000 megawatt by 2030, which is, you can see the gap is quite like the large gap that we need to achieve in the next 10 years. So from the previous section, I give you the overview of the solar policy in Thailand, and for the current supporting policies in Thailand is household scheme, which is focusing on the residential sectors. So for the next section, I would like to give you about the driving factors on consumer evaluation into prosumers. So what is the term of prosumers? The term of prosumer was first introduced by Erwin Toffler in 1981. He defined prosumer as the people who produce some of the goods and services that they consume. And so how this term of prosumer relate to solar energy? Our current role is a consumer, right? So we use energy and pay electricity to the utility. But if you have the solar rooftop system on your roof, so you gonna become the prosumer, which means that you are both consume and produce the electricity. So what the factor that driving like consumer to become the prosumer? As I mentioned in the previous section, like the cost of solar technology keep declining, so it lead to the average installation cost of solar PV system at the household level also decrease recently. As you can see, like the trend from your left-hand side, the trends of the cost of solar technology keep declining also in the Malaysia. Like Malaysia and Thailand is going the same way, like the cost of solar PV is keep declining. And the graph from your right-hand side is the pricing survey of the installation cost of solar rooftop in Thailand, like in different like installation capacity, like the cost is like more affordable in the past, and more people can afford to install solar PV on their roof. And in addition, like from the report like IRENA, they also forecast that there would be 59% solar PV price reduction by 2025. So it means that it's more affordable for the solar PV system in the future. And also the cost of solar panels still keep declining. Now I would like to just talk about a little bit about solar panels, because solar panel is the key equipment to convert solar energy to electricity. Currently, basically, solar panels nowadays have 3 generations. So the first generation is a silicon based, made from the silicon, and for this type of solar cell contain two types. The first one is monocrystalline and polycrystalline. Most of these type of solar panel popular used in solar farm and solar rooftop, but in our ASEAN country, we mostly use a polycrystalline solar panel because it's cheaper than monocrystalline, and also it better used for the solar rooftop and solar farm. And for the next generation is a non-silicon base. It's made from it's kind of a layer base. Like it's a thin film. It's kind of a thin film solar panel. Most of these solar panel is not used for the solar rooftop, but it's mostly used for like the gadget because it's quite less efficiency than the first generation. And now like we have the third generation, which is a new material base. But the third generation still not commercialized yet. It's still developing in the laboratory. The goal of developing the third generation in order to increase efficiency and lower the cost of solar panel, like for example, like solar cell made from polymer or the perovskite solar cells. And this is the overview of the solar panels that currently used in nowadays and what the trends of the solar panel in the future. And solar panel is one of the main factors that made the overall cost of solar system keep declining. So what is the pros and cons for being the solar PV prosumers? As I mentioned earlier, like prosumer equal to producer plus consumers. So prosumer can be both consume electricity from the grid and also produce electricity from solar rooftop. So the main objective for prosumer is firstly produce electricity for your own use, and then if you have the excess generation, you can share to your neighbor or you can sell to the distribution grid, which is depend on the national policies. So what is the pros, the advantage for to being the solar PV prosumer? Since the declining cost of solar panel lead to declining cost of electricity generated by solar to be greatly reduced in household sectors. And also if you install solar PV for producing electricity, it can be increase the option of electricity supplies, but it's not be the burden to the whole electricity system. And also it can be improve the solar PV industry and it lead to the growth of economic. But it still have some disadvantage because if you produce your own electricity, you need to pay for the additional cost, like for example, like for the backup charge, for the wheeling charge. For the wheeling charge, mean like because you need to use the distribution grid. It's like you use a tollway, you need to pay for like driving on a tollway, right? So this is kind of the same function. Like if you produce your own electricity and you want to share your excess generation to your neighbor, you may need to pay for the wheeling charge. And for the upfront cost of solar PV system is still expensive. Even though I mentioned that the cost of solar technologies keep declining, but for the household scales, even it's cheaper than the past, but the upfront cost still high. Like you need to invest about like 100,000 baht for the system, and only like people that well enough or can afford for the upfront cost system, so they can like install the solar PV system. I mean, like it's not like everyone that can pay for the upfront cost of solar PV system. And I would like to highlight a bit about the battery, because this is the trend that definitely coming in the future. Since we can produce electricity from solar energy, but solar energy still have constraint because solar energy is an intermittent cost, and is intermittent source. So sometimes like it depends on the weather. Like for example, like so solar solar system needs solar energy, but some if someday it's a raining day and no sunlight, so it means that you cannot like produce electricity. So battery can be the solution. Like for example, if you produce electricity from the solar PV system, and if you have the excess generation, you can keep it in the battery, and you can use the power that you keep in battery in the night time. It means like you can produce energy in the daytime and keep that in the battery and use them in the night time. So you can save like bills. You can save your electricity bills and less use the electricity from the grid. And for the pros and cons of the storing solar energy in the battery, for the advantage, it can reduce the dependence on electricity from the distribution grid, and can also reduce the fluctuation of the solar energy. As I mentioned, that solar energy is kind of intermittent source, and also it can be energy shifting to be a power storage during off-peak and distribute power during peak. But however, the cost of solar battery is still not feasible yet. But I think in the next 10 years, the cost of solar battery it can be more affordable. And for the other driving factor to become the prosumer, like for the first one is economic factors. As I mentioned, the declining cost of PV system, the solar leasing in some country, and the retail rate, because the rate of the electricity rate in Thailand is not that expensive, but it's not that cheap. So if you like install solar PV, it can help you save the bill, and also it can increase the EPC market competition. And since the cost of PV is declining, so it means a shorter payback period, and it can be more affordable in both solar PV system and the battery. And together with the technological factors like battery, EV cars, and the development of solar panel efficiency, like EV car for the EV car like electric vehicle cars. This is also the trend that definitely coming in the future, like to switch from the combustion car to the electricity cars. And for the pictures in the future, I mean, for example, like you can install solar PV, and if you have the EV car, you can produce electricity and you can fit in your EV car in the future. And in terms of social factors, like because nowadays, like they are more increasing in awareness and the perception on renewable energy, and can be since the COVID-19 situation, like it can be more self-dependent, such as like work from home, like since the COVID-19 situation, like people like more interested in the solar energies, because like if you work from home, like you use like, so it means like you use electricity because mostly like we work in office, right? But for the work from home, like you use more electricity, and if you like can produce your own electricity from solar PV system, so it can help you save your bill. And for environmental factors, it can address the climate change issue and also reduce the global warming. And finally, and lastly, the political factors. In Thailand, like we have the continuous supporting policies, and also we have the policy to support the increasing of the prosumer in Thailand. So this is the driving factors from consumer to become the prosumers. And for this slide, I would like to recap about the evolution of solar residential regime in Thailand. As I show you about the solar energy, as I show you about the solar policy timeline in the past to current, so I summarize into 3 evolution of the policies. For the first, government for the first evolution is pure investment, it means like you install, you produce, and you sell out to the government authority. And the second evolution is the self-consumption. This means you install, you produce, and you privately use in your house, but it's no compensation for the excess generation. But in the current and in the future, it's gonna be kind of a hybrid policy, like for both self-consumption and sale to the government. You install, you produce, and you can use in your home, and then you can sell the excess to the grid, and you gain the revenues from selling your solar energies. And this is the summarized trend in current and the futures, like PV prosumer, current, and the next future is PV prosumer plus the battery. And for the last section, I will talk about the supporting policy for promoting solar rooftop in the next generation or in the prosumer era. As I mentioned that the policy to support the prosumer, the first one is the self-consumption policies. For the self-consumption policy has been promoting in several developed countries and also developing countries. As I mentioned that the self-consumption scheme can be defined as the schemes that encourage PV generated electricity to be firstly used for local consumption in a house or in the buildings in order to reduce electricity bills, and also you cannot gain the compensation for the export, the excess generation. And for the next policy, since according from the self-consumption scheme, it can be broken down into 2 broad categories, which is the net metering and net billing. For the net metering and net billing, they also are supporting mechanism for solar PV system, and most of the country in the developing country and developed country, they use this policy to incentivize the growth of solar PV installation, especially for household. And as you can see from the slide, there are many countries around the world, they adopt the net metering and net billing policies. And this is the kind of the most popular the policy that also people love it, and also they can also reduce the payback of the investment of solar PV. And this as you can see from the screen, the self-consumption regimes and surplus export mechanism around the world classified by income level. And this is my paper that I published last year. Since, as I mentioned, we have self-consumption and net metering, but we need to seek more on the new business model for the prosumers, because we need to achieve the target of the solar energy, and also we want to encourage people to to install solar PV. And for this paper, I write about the business model and market design for solar prosumer on peer-to-peer energy trading in Thailand. And the concept that I would like to talk about for this section is a peer-to-peer energy trading. So what is peer-to-peer energy trading? So peer-to-peer energy trading can allow like prosumer and consumer like in a neighbor, they can trade energy like each other on the distribution grid. So the concept is developed based on the concept of a sharing economy, such as Airbnb or Ubers. And the peer-to-peer energy trading can be scaled like in neighborhood, community, and microgrid, and the local distribution network. And as you can see, like the scheme, like for example, like you have solar system and you want to sell to your neighbor, so you can sell directly to them. And this is the overview of the peer-to-peer energy trading across the world. But in the currently, the peer-to-peer energy trading still not in the state of commercialized yet. It's still in the pilot project. And also in the Malaysia, also have the pilot project on peer-to-peer energy trading from SIDA. And this is also the concept of peer-to-peer pilot project in the Malaysia. This is an example that I would like to give you since I am in the Malaysia webinars. So for the peer-to-peer energy in Malaysia is still in the pilot project. So they allow to prosumer to sell access solar electricity on the energy trading platform to another consumer at the rate of competitive to a retailer tariff. And in the pilot project in Malaysia, they have like 8 months, and I'm not sure like this the project is finished yet or not. And also in Thailand, we also have the sandbox project to test peer-to-peer energy trading because peer-to-peer energy trading is still not allowed yet in terms of the regulation. So in Thailand, we see this challenge, and so we launched kind of like sandbox project in order to allow the participants to test the innovation concept with the cutting-edge technologies in the market under relaxing regulatory requirements, like for example, like new business model in the power market and also peer-to-peer energy trading. And peer-to-peer energy trading can enhance the uptake of solar PV installation in the household sector, and also can increase the number of consumers to meet the emission of the target in the solar power in the plant. And we have kind of like 8 projects in Thailand that want to testing peer-to-peer energy trading. One of the example is T77 in Bangkok. Like they also using the blockchain technology in order to facilitate the solar rooftop trading, and it's still we still have the regulatory barrier, like it's not yet happened in the project because the requirement of the license to sell electricity or to household and also the waiting charge. And so this is the example of the prosumer that can sell power to the neighbors. And also this is the project that I would like to show that relate to solar energy. Like we have the most influencer in Thailand on solar energy, like the solar monk, and he's a monk that he want to like encourage like the community, like especially in rural area, to use the solar energies. He also like teach like that his students in the school and how to like use solar energies and how to become like self-sufficient and also like growing organic vegetable. And there's like student in this school like they can know how to make the uh, solar energy like in the affordable way and know how to use the clean energies and also can promote the local and national self-sufficiency and sustainability. So it's come to the conclusion and key takeaway for my presentation. So I would like to summarize from my presentation that for the renewable energies are keys to the goal number 7 in order to ensuring access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. Among renewable energy technology, solar PV has become the leading technology for investment and popular in the market nowadays. And for the future trend, like solar PV prosumer plus battery is the future trend due to the declining cost of solar and battery, and it can emerge a pure self-consumption, and it can be fulfill the concept of affordable and clean energy. And I would like to highlight a bit about the P2p Energy Trading in Thailand is still the early stage and can be a solution to enhance the uptake of solar PV installation in the household sectors. And so that's all for my presentation, and thank you very much for all the participants.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Chi. This is a very informative. I greatly appreciate the presentation you gave. It was nothing short but incredible, informative, and interesting. I do have an experience in presenting paper about mounting solar PV on the roof. I was questioned by a Germany professors. Not questioned, basically he kind of giving his point of view. He said that Malaysian people can be very rich because of the abundance of sun irradiance that we receive, right? But I think like Thailand, we have the same situation as well. But probably at that years, that was way back when the solar PV installation is still something that is very rare and kind of expensive. But now, I think, as you mentioned, it's become a very cheap, and it can be an instrument for people to improve their social economy and also to stabilize their social economy. Now, let us take some questions or perhaps ideas from the participant who would like to share. You may write it down on the chat window if you are shy to ask through the video. But if the connection is good enough, you may just wave and switch on your mic and you may ask the question yourself. I think I'm gonna take one of the questions here. Okay, there's one question from Dr. Ru. And Dr. Shi, thank you for the great information sharing. I have one question. If an international investor penetrates Thailand for infrastructure upgrading and would like to capitalize solar panels at the rest areas building for electricity generation, will the procedure or mechanism of application be the same with the household you mentioned just now?
This question means the install solar in the building.
Yeah, rest area. Yes. I think it's probably, yeah.
Yes, it's the same. It's the same as the household policy, because most of apart from the residential like household sectors, it's also like popular for the buildings in Thailand nowadays also. Actually, like residential and building sector, like for like solar PV installation, is going the same policies. And the more like the more number of installation is the more like cheaper for the cost of installation.
Right. I think Dr. Rumaiza, if you may want to add or um, uh, share your views on the procedure, probably do we have the same procedure of installing solar panels in Malaysia as well? That are they different for the household and for the industrial building? Maybe Dr. Rumaiza?
Hi. Thank you, Dr. Siti. Hi, Dr. Shi. So this is Rumaiza. All right. So basically, why the question popped up is because I am currently facilitating one subject, which is a simulation project, by which we are actually simulating to penetrate Asian countries, in particular Thailand, to upgrade facilities. But we are looking into sustainable construction and also achieving SDGs. So that's why it is very interesting, and I am very lucky to attend this particular talk by you, speaking about rooftop solar prosumer, because as we conducted research, we actually cannot find the how to say this, the mechanism where if we would like to install the solar panels on public, I can say public buildings, for example, the rest areas. But your example just now when you show at the school, at the school, and also at the top of a high-rise building, I believe it is maybe an office or maybe some commercial building. So that's why I think it must have certain mechanism or processes for that particular installation and capitalization of that energy and the financial benefit from that installation. So maybe when Dr. Shi mentioned just now that it was supposed to be the same as the household, maybe I will need to do deeper research on that.
Yeah, actually, it's quite the same it's quite the same as a household. As you see the rooftop like on the commercial buildings, and I think like as I mentioned in my presentation, like in Thailand we promoting the use of solar energy for self consumption first, and also we have the grid code, like everybody that want to install PV in like any like household or commercial or industrial, they need to have to follow the technical like in the grid code. But but the difference is if the building in the city and the building in the rural area, like for example like the solar energy on the commercial building is going to be the different procedure because of the congestion of the grid, because to serve the urbanized. But for the school is in the rural area, and it's not intervene the grid much. And I think for the school they install solar PV and they use all. They not like install like the big amount of the installation, but they install only that they just consume. And then the school they I think they just pay like zero for the bills, for the electricity bills. But if you would like to study about the mechanism or the procedure related to the building, like you can email to me, and I can provide you for the source.
Yeah, I think
That's good to know. Thank you.
I think Dr. Sri, there would be there'll probably be a lot more potential collaborations coming after this talk. So if you be kind enough to probably just leave your email on the chat.
Oh, yes, sure, yes, sure.
Because we have more than
Yeah, she actually shared the screen with her. This is your email, right?
Yes. Sorry now. Okay. Any other questions from the participants?
Madam Moderator.
Yes.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Dr. Shi, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
My question is that how feasible this household prosumer solar PV to be implemented? Because most of the electricity energy generator are country and state controlled, for example. I think the same case in Malaysia and Thailand. And normally it was like being monopolized by one or two government-linked corporations. And then since SEDA have a pilot project in Malaysia, we hardly know about it. And then is it okay to be implemented since the initial cost to set up the system probably much more higher than like you applying for what do you call it, conventional grid to house installation. And then and again, I think probably when is the right time or like the best time that this particular prosumer solar PV can be implemented, since I think electricity tariffs in Malaysia are pretty cheap. I think probably slightly cheaper than in Thailand and other South Asian countries. Okay, what is your opinion on that? Okay, thank you.
I try to thank you for your viewpoint, and actually as Dr. Rosham mentioned that actually one factor that drive electricity tariff, right? In Malaysia, as you said, it's cheaper than in Thailand. So the SEDA, so they have kind of like the net metering program, because net metering is mean when you install solar, you can you can export the excess and you gain the compensation. So it's the SEDA launched the net metering program in Malaysia because they want to incentivize Malaysian people to install solar PV. Because if they don't if SEDA not use kind of net metering mechanism, people don't not interested in install solar PV, since you mentioned that the electricity rate in Malaysia is quite cheap, even cheaper than in Thailand. And you say what is the right time, right? Actually, it's already the right time. It's already the right time to be the yeah, because I think maybe you heard about the energy transition, disruptive technologies, and some sector already disrupt. And as I mentioned about EV car, maybe in the 10th year, there's no more. I don't want to say about oil because the Malaysia is leading in the petrol about oil station, and I mean
it's okay. It's
because I think you heard about EV is a definite trend that's coming, and they want to use electricity instead for the oil, right? And yeah, I mean gas station or oil station may be disrupted by EV charging stations. This is so what I say is mean that what is the right time is already right time, so we can start. Yeah. Not the right time. You can you can I mean call solar PV company and then ask them to to install the solar PV system in your house. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Shi. Dr. Rostam, I hope that's clarified a few of the points that you wanted to.
Yeah. I think I will call the solar PV installer to come over to my house. Thank you, Dr. Shi.
Thank you.
Dr. Shi, I do have like a few other questions on the chat window, but I think I'm going to go with the last question posted by Zulhairi Afandi bin Muhammad Zaki. Here's the question, if you just allow me to read. Besides policies introduced, can you share with us what are the Thailand government initiative or incentive to support solar implementation?
Can you repeat the question again? Because just now the system is fluctuating.
All right, I read it again. Besides policies introduced, can you share with us what are the Thailand government initiative or incentive to support solar implementation?
Beside the question.
Are you? Can you read the chat window?
Yes. I just think about it.
Dr. Rustam, because we have one of the participants who can actually speak Thai, right? So.
And besides my policy introduced,
I think you in the slide just now there are a few policies that you have introduced. So,
yes.
Is there any kind of government initiative or incentive for those consumers? Those consumers that produce excess electricity. Do you buy back? Do you have tax exemptions and things like that?
But actually, I already introduced in my presentation. Like currently, we have the household scheme. Household scheme is mean if you install your solar PV and you have the access, you export to the grid and you get the 1.6 baht per kilowatt hour. But the capacity is capped, like just below 10 kilowatt. But actually, I just don't want to say that the current household scheme is kind of a bit failed because they set the target is very high, like 10,000 megawatt by the next 10 years, and they are allocating like 100 megawatts in each year. But the result for the first year that they open is like less than 2 megawatts in total, because I think even it seems that government want to promoting the solar energy, but behind that there's still the impact, like that I said, impact to the grid, because it's like many people like they produce like solar energy for electricity. It's gonna be in between the conventional grid, like you understand what I mean? And because they have to invest more in order to support the electricity from the grid. So to answer your question about, can you share with us what are the Thailand government initiative or incentive to support solar implementation? So in the past they had, but in the current there is not much incentive for like solar household. But if for in terms of industrialized sectors, in industrial sector, they have kind of the tax like BOI for the tax import solar like panels. Yes, and I hope I answered your question.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Shi. If there is no other questions, I think I would like just to give Dr. Shi one last question from the Tun Muhammad Irfan Surya Muhammad Effendi. Muhammad Surya Effendi. I think this is more the technical lifespan of the solar PV. How long is the lifespan of solar PV before it breaks?
Actually, it's 25 to 30 years. for the lifespan. And nowadays we talk about because since we promote the use of solar energy like the past 10 years, and until now it's about like 20 years. And some of the past project is already reached the lifespan of solar PV. And now we talk about how we destroy the solar panels because in order to because solar panels is gonna become as a waste, and it's gonna be much more like solar panel waste in Thailand. And now government is talking about how to manage this kind of waste, because to destroy or to make it not dangerous, because to destroy the solar panel is kind of like it's a kind of dangerous process, and it's kind of the issue that government quite concerned after the lifespan of the solar panels. Yes.
Okay, I think that should be it, and we are actually approaching 11:30 now. So I suppose that to those who still have questions to ask, we will direct to Dr. Chi to get his to get a response on whatever the question that you are posted, and perhaps for further more potential collaborations. Hi, Dr. Asrul, I see you now.
Apologize.
No problem, no problem.
Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen, we are about to end our session. So on behalf of the organizing committee, yes, the Institute for Biodiversity and Sustainable Development and Faculty of Architecture and Design, we would like to once again thank Dr. Shi for taking your time to share your knowledge with us. And to all the participants, I remain most grateful for your rapt attention with which you sat through the session, and I'm confident that you and I and all of us actually learned something from this particular session. Thank you very much. With that, I would like to end this session with a quote: everything always seems impossible until it's done. Assalamualaikum, and thank you so much. Have a good